Okay, so just standing in the field of gravity. So this streaming down through the body, a pressure from above, like standing under a waterfall or so we want to relax the body to the point where we feel the forces operating upon us as flows of energy. So gravity is a flow down through the body, and the earth is a flow up through the body. So the difficulty with standing meditation, which is effectively what this is the instability in this area. So when you do seated meditation, you've stabilized this area by sitting down on it. So your sitting bones are on the cushion. So here, what we don't want is this sense that the legs have locked this into stability. I want the feeling that this has real flexibility and fluidity within the space that it contains, but it's settled and still because it's quiet. Yeah. So you see someone that doesn't have the quiet mind, they're fidgeting all the time. There's always this extraneous, uncontrollable motion in their body. And so when the legs come up, we want this feeling that they've attached to the pelvis from the side rather than being underneath. So this is why we tend to have a stance that's just slightly wider than shoulder width. And then you want the feeling that your coccyx is just dangling by a little thread from your sacrum. And it's just free to dangle. So the head is suspended, the coccyx is dropping down, and my legs are attached here rather than here. So dancers, they often will visualize the leg coming all the way up to their armpit, which that has its uses as well. Okay, now let's just start with the hands low. So stimulating the dantian, the lower dantian, the belly. So as soon as we settle and we become quiet inside, we begin to gather in the lower dantian. So from there, you can then develop everything else, but this is the starting place. So just stay with gravity. So feel the sacrum, that triangular bone here, that's cleaving this platform in two and pushing it out. So the pressure of gravity flowing through your upper body is trying to let this drift apart a little bit. Yeah, so as you stand, you're becoming more and more relaxed. You're letting go of anxiety. Okay, now let's just start just teasing at this point with a little bit of movement in and out. So remember when we were kids and you go to a party, birthday party, and they'd play Pass the Parcel. And the parcel was always like this big and it was sort of round because it had so many layers on. Yeah, so it's a bit like, so it's like we're obscured by all these layers and layers of anxiety. So each time you work, you're peeling off layers just to see what's underneath, really. Yeah, so this, what you're doing with the hands is activating the dantian a little. And so you need to bring a little bit of tension in it to contain that activity. Yes, remember in the classics, the spirit is excited but internally gathered. And so as this gets a little bit more active and more tight, then you can start to feel the min meng. Okay, now let's just bring the hands out again. Okay, now just imagine like John was there with you and he just came up and put one hand gently on your sacrum and one hand gently on your sternum, just to help settle you, just to help you let go of a little bit of that anxiety that comes. It's not really from what you do, it just comes from being alone. We don't like it. And so it just gives you permission to let go and just spread, sort of expand and relax. Okay, let's just start this again. Yeah, so as you continue with the hand movements, that you should feel that the air is getting thicker. So it's sort of more difficult to move the hands partly because the arms are just getting more and more relaxed. But there's this feeling that they're almost moving through water. And now let's just bring the hands towards each other. So just feel the space between the hands. And then just imagine that your dantian is between the hands. So you're massaging it. You're giving it like an energy massage. Yeah, so the hands aren't just drifting in and out, they're doing something, they're healing something. Okay, and then just back to stillness. That's it. So just try not to lock the joints. So the whole body's quite trembly because all the joints are sort of open. Okay, and now let's just do a simple qigong, if that wasn't simple enough. So just going down, and then just imagine that your hands have reached underneath your feet, and then just draw the energy of the ground up the body to the dantian and then back out. Yeah, so you just using the power of the visualization, the imagination. So this is what's all important with internal work. So you're lifting, something is lifting up through you, gathering here, and then you just send the hands out again to the side, underneath the feet, and then just draw energy up. And just start to bring in a little bit of attention in the Dan Qian. So I'm pulling the Dan Qian here to suck the energy up, like sucking water up a straw. You know, you'd suck your cheeks in, wouldn't you? So that's the same feeling here. You've drawn it a little bit and the energy comes up, and then you just let it completely relax to flow down the outside of the legs and then up into the Dan Qian. Okay, and then just back out to here. There's just a few more in and outs. So mind continuous, so no, it doesn't, nothing snaps. So when you work on mind continuous, you really have to attend to the changes, to the returns where it changes direction. Make sure there's no snap there. Okay, then just back out. Okay, so now let's just move the legs a bit just to loosen them. Okay, let's just try something simple. So the thing we were doing with the knees, yeah, just to loosen the legs really. So this feeling that the two heels, or the two knees, if you like, need to go in opposite directions. Yeah. So this is the beginning of like single weighted, full and empty. So this knee comes up, and that lets me sink down into this heel. And then I come up, and then this knee comes up, and I sink into this heel. Ooh. Yeah. So here, it's better to feel gravity as something that's pulling you down from the ground rather than something that's pushing you down from above. Because as soon as I lift this knee, I want this feeling that this is being pulled down into the ground. Yeah. So I'm not sort of coming over the leg and sitting on it like this. I'm really being pulled down. It's as though my sacrum and my coccyx have been stretched into the ground. So it's a slightly different feeling. So it's the down that we're after, but we generate the down in a light way by bringing the knee up. Ooh. Ooh. Yeah, so the two sides of the body opposite, they're completely different. Yeah, so not only does your mind contain the up and the down, but so does your body. So this side of my body is sinking and melting into the ground, and this side is woo, coming up. And woo. So we want to be detached. So we don't want any of this movement to take my mind. My mind is in the middle. And if it really is in the middle in a relaxed way, then they will balance each other, the up and the down. So I'm watching, but I'm not attached. You're watching these movements. It's as though from afar, but actually it's in the middle. You're in the thick of it. You're in the eye of the storm, if you like. Ooh. That's nice. Okay, let's just continue with it. And now just bring the knee up just slightly higher. Yeah, so we're just trying to, in a sense, just see how high we can get the knee. Because when you get your knee higher than the hip, it starts to stretch out the lower back a bit, which is what we'd like to be able to do. Yeah, so make sure you point the toes, otherwise it lacks that sort of line. It's a bit sloppy. So feel the lift of the knee stretching. It's like it's pulling something down under. It's pulling your bum under a little bit, but like in a good natural way. And now continue, but now just use the arms just to help. So just pull the knee just slightly higher than you can get it without the pull, just to give the lower back just a little bit of an extra stretch. Okay. And now just back to riding horse. And now just feel this area. Yeah, so when you've stretched this area out a little bit, it should be just easier to get your mind down there. So what stops our mind going home, going to where it belongs, which is the dantian, is just the tension that we gather there. Okay. And now just turning. But remember in the classics, it says that, you know, everything that you do, every action should come from spirit. So we just want to sort of look at that. And in a sense, turning is the purest form of motion in a way. Okay, so what I want to do, I want to turn one side, don't really matter which, yeah, but I want it to come from spirit, yeah. So I just make sure everything's sort of relaxed. Now, if it didn't come from spirit, if it came from muscle and from body and from mind, then I would be turning the waist, yeah. I would be getting this to turn to make me move, or I would be pushing the ground to make me move, yeah. Okay, so what we want is this feeling that there's a little spark, whoa, that actually enables you to float around. It comes from like a brightness inside, almost like you're just really interested to see what's over here. And it's that takes you. And then you just let it relax back. Yeah. And then again, it's what John would say is you lift the eyebrows. Yeah. So you pull the eyebrows up, you let the eyes goggle a bit, expand, and then back round. But it's got this feeling of sort of floating. So the action is not coming from your legs, but your legs are supporting it. And then back round. Yeah. So the legs are relaxing in order to allow this movement to take place, which will give a sense of sinking. If you're using the legs by tensing them, then you'll always tend to come up a little bit. So, whoa. So it's like someone, you know, like one of your kids has just called your name, and it just causes you just to turn, you know, to sort of gently see what they want. So there's no anxiety attached to it whatsoever. It's just a pure burst of spirit. You haven't thought about it. It's just been pulled out of you. And you're not even sure if it's your spirit that's caused it. It's almost as though something else is operating, like the puppet man, yeah? And then back. And whoa. So what we would like is for the sink and relax, the thing that I let go of to let my body sink and relax, be exactly the same as the thing I let go of to let the spirit rise. I'd like it all to come from the one thing. This is why you can't let sink and relax get too heavy, because it will tend to work against the spirit. And you can't let spirit get too light, otherwise you'll just float, you won't have a root. Something lets go, which enables my body to drop and lets my spirit rise. Now just turn to the side and just hold it there. But it's got a sense that it's continuing. You're still turning, but the push back is balancing that. So there's this sense of something lifting and something dropping endlessly. You know, that's the feeling of your energy. That's the feeling of having been it's really quite difficult because you really are being torn apart. You're letting something down endlessly and letting something up endlessly, and you're just trembling in the middle, trying to keep yourself together. And then when you come back to the front, it's as though you draw those two things back. There's a sense of relief. And then you just turn the other side. And then back. And then this side. Yeah, and just feel that without this sinking and rising, sinking of your body, rising of your spirit, there's no real openness, yeah? So the openness is not so much this as this, yeah? It's like a door opens up and a door opens down and then you're open. Whoa. Yeah. This is actually really difficult. I mean, it's not difficult to do, it's just difficult to bear. Yeah, so to get into energy, you just need to become accustomed to this sort of pain. It's like a rawness. It's a tremble, a shake. Ah. Okay, and then back to the middle. Okay. And now just use your ward off. Let's work on this center, the heart center. Just use your ward off just to close yourself down, if you like. It's, you just slowly seal, you know, you slowly get your roundness back, your skin back. So it's almost like that sort of spirit work where you're separating spirit and body. It sort of flays the body. It's like you lose your skin and everything stings. And now here you're just coming back. And again, just feel the teacher's hands, one on your sacrum, one on your sternum. And they're there not to adjust your posture, but to just give you support, to help you learn to trust. And then just start the hands going in and out with the heart. So keep a little bit of tension in the Dan Qian so that your Min Meng is open. So it's like you're operating on your heart, like these probes are going into the heart and just wiggling around a bit. Okay. And now just hands towards each other a bit. Just feel the space between the hands, the level of your heart, and then just bring an image of your heart into that space. So it's like you're massaging the heart very gently, just with a bit of energy, letting it expand, letting it contract. They're all singing in the synagogue downstairs. Sinning in the synagogue. And then just in and out a few more times. Wow. Sounds exactly like a football crowd. There's not a lot of difference. Yeah. So you know when we do that pulling the belly in and in exercise, there should be a sense that you've got that similar sort of ability in your chest, just to sort of pull it in a little bit and then let it expand. So you're not quite sure eventually if this is your chest pulling your hands in or whether it's the hands pushing the chest in. You'd like it to become more and more from the actual center you're working on. Ooh. Yeah. So to start with, you're outside looking in and you end up inside looking out. And you're sort of unaware of when the switch actually happened. If you look too hard at it, then the switch won't happen. You just got to just relax and just let it go. Ooh. Just feel the hands really lagging the impetus. The impetus is your eyebrows. It's like your spirit. And slowly the hands get sent as well. Slowly the hands pull back. Okay, now let's just link those two centers. So just down, split at the sacrum, and then back up. This is actually quite important. It's like the hands come into the heart through a hole in the chest, and they exit the sacrum. Almost like you're shitting your hands out. It's like here, ooh, something has to get through. So this is almost like swallowing them. And then this is like, so it's through the mouth almost, or the throat, the heart, and out of the belly or the perineum. Great. Okay, now let's just bring the feet up. Okay. So now just trying to, it's almost like the opposite of when we were floating around from the lift of the spirit. Is trying to get the turn from the foot on the ground. Yeah. So, and if you're climbing a rope, then you reach up and you pull the rope down, and that brings your body up. So your action is always against the actual direction of the motion that you're trying to produce. So I've sort of got my weight mainly in this foot. And what I want to do is just produce a turn one side, one way and the other. But I don't want it to come from here. I want it to come from the foot wrestling with the ground. So what I try to do is twist my foot that way. And because the ground won't move, what it does, it moves me the other way. So I get twisted this way. And then I twist the foot the other way and it will roll me back. Yeah, so I'm getting a really strong twisting action in the leg. And that is causing my body to turn. Yeah, so we have to get used to doing something which would normally make an external movement outside of ourselves and just using that to move our own body. Same way you would, if you were pulling yourself up the rope. I mean, normally you'd pull the rope to pull the rope down, but because you know it's your body you're wanting to go up, you just let it happen. You don't resist your own body going up. Same here. I twist the ground this way and it rolls me round. And then I twist the ground this way and it rolls me round. So we're just trying to get this as pure as possible. So less and less from here and more from the action of the foot. So what makes it difficult is that we're not used to this sort of intensity in the feet. Yeah, so we're just normally used to the feet being pretty much like paddles, like a duck's feet, just flat on the floor. So here they really have to wrestle. I really have to twist this foot to pull myself round and then really. And each time I use it, I need to sink. Otherwise, there's the chance that the foot will twist on the ground, which I don't want. I want it to really grip the ground so that I can use this action to turn my own body. So the feet are used much more like hands. They've got this sort of dexterity, this ability to change shape. And it really, you feel the muscles, but you feel them quite differently than when you just are holding yourself up or moving up and down or side to side. You're really wringing the muscles about the bone like you're trying to wring out a towel. Okay, now let's just try a little bit with the other leg. So just bring the weight gently over it, let yourself settle in it. And then just gently twist the foot this way. And then twist the foot the other way. Yeah, so this would be like the attacking phase, the phase where something tends to come up and out of you. And this would be the yielding phase, which is gathering everything in. So as per usual, the yielding phase is just a bit more difficult. It's more difficult to twist the foot this way. Yeah, so when you get into it, there's something really sort of impolite about it. It's like when you see someone eating that doesn't have manners and they're just ramming the food in their mouth, just tearing the meat off the bone. it's very sort of animalistic. So this is like the same sort of thing. It's like, ugh. It's like you're trying to tear something. Pull. Ugh. They're really going wild in the synagogue. My body's vibrating from their singing and their stamping. Okay, now just the same thing, but just both legs really. So let's do one at a time. So the twisting out action, it's easier that. So just twist with this foot and let that push you into this foot. And then twist with this foot and let it send you back. Yeah. So, ooh. Yeah, so when we push with a leg, you need to give the push a slight twist just to control it really. So this is taking me here and then twist this way and that will send me here. All the time you just have to try and keep the sacral area and the lower back and the coccyx just relax. So my coccyx remains dangling. You see what a tall order that is? So the more effort you tend to put in, the more enjoyable it becomes, but the more you tend to lose the relaxation. You lose your center. So twist and twist. Twist and twist. Twist. Yeah, so it's a bit like back foot energy. Yes, if you're sort of pushing yourself from the back foot into the front foot, you tend to use a twist like this in the foot. And then the other one would be more like front foot energy. So you see, this has now become a front foot. So this is pushing from the back foot into the front foot. Twist. Twist. Okay, now let's just let it relax. And then we'll try the other one. So the front foot energy. Yeah. So now pulling the foot this way in order to draw myself into it. Yeah. And then this one has to pull this way to pull me out of that foot and towards here. And then this one this way. Yeah, you see how this is a lot more difficult. Because the pull here pulls me almost completely into this foot, and then suddenly I have to make an appearance somewhere completely different, which is over here, and start something going there. So this is much more to do with spirit in the sense that we understand it. Something sort of operating beyond, so something's over here, and it sort of pulls me. So that twist of the foot in this yielding sense draws me towards something. The twisting of the foot in the other sense tends to bring me out of something. Yeah? So here I'm being pulled into this foot by this twist. And then I'm being pulled into this foot by the foot twisting this way. Ooh. And again, we're just trying to just catch the mood. You know, what is the feeling that is unique to this action, this exercise? And just really sort of just getting a bit of familiarity with that. So this is the draw, the pull. So it's like I'm pulling into the dantian, I'm retreating. The other one, you're coming out. Ooh. So this is the difficult one, really. So this is the one we need to sort of just come back to often to get a bit of familiarity with it. Yeah, so it's a bit like, you know, if your kid is sort of, they've got a toy that's broken, you know. So, Dad, can you mend this? Yeah, okay, give it to me. And you sort of take it, and suddenly you're just sort of focused, you know, you're just looking at all the intricacies of this object. It's a bit like that. It's just bringing your attention very local, very specific. The other one is more like just a blast. It's got a sort of degree of ignorance to it, the other one, whereas this is, ooh, ooh. And ooh. So if you're being called from outside all the time, there's a call from here, I attend to it. And then there's another brat over here yelling at me, so I attend to that. So, and no sooner have I settled here than there's something calling from over here. And it's the foot. It's in the foot. My response to that is in the foot. Or it's total, if you like. The foot would tend to resist it. So if I just turn here, I can feel this foot almost pushing me back. Yeah? But I want that to sort of pull me forward. And, wow. Yeah, so it's just waving hands in the clouds, really. Yeah, 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 yeah. Okay, now let's just do just a bit for this center, just to finish that qigong. Okay, so just starting here, Dan Qian, just let's do just a couple of these, just to get that elastic feeling. And then bring the hands up to here. So just feel this, how it settles you into the posture a bit better if you let it. And again, just teasing to get a real feel for the heart. It's not just an imaginary point, there's a reality to it. And then just up to the head. In a sense, this is the most important one, because this is where we keep all our shit. Yeah? And so we just want to sort of just let that go. So just imagine, you know, just feel each time you pull, you're encouraging the mind to just expand a little bit and let go of all that stuff it's holding on to. Even when we don't think we're holding on, we're holding on. And you can just sort of move it around. You move the head around, you can move the hands around. So it's the whole head, really. And then just bring the hands out and just bring them towards each other in a way at the level of your head, your forehead. And again, just imagine your brain is in that space. So you're sort of squeezing it and then just letting it spring back. Ooh. Oh. And then just through the centers, so head, heart, belly, and out of the sacrum. Head, heart, belly. There's almost a sense that you sort of pause very slightly at each one. It sort of clicks in, sort of slots in, and then it slots in, and then it slots in. Now, just bear in mind that basically these three centers are like the three middle chakra. So you've got ones either side. So you've got one here, one here, one here, and one here. Yeah, so you're passing through those as well. Wow. Yeah. And one more. Yo, 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 yo. And then just back out. Doesn't really matter where you have the hands. And again, just feel the hand of the teacher, sacrum, sternum. And then just bring it up and down. So again, so head suspended. My legs slightly bent, very slightly. Everything relaxing. So the buttocks sort of melting down into the hamstrings. And this sense that this is dangling down. Again, space between the legs a little bit. And just this real willingness to turn. So you're really well oiled, like a well-oiled wheel. Yeah, so remember in the classics, the spine is like the axle, the waist is like the wheel, and the mind is the lubricant, is the oil, the grease. So, okay, great.